My second question is, when we are at the emergency room and the doctor is not coming, what are you guys doing back there?
You're dealing with real emergencies.
I'm gonna plead the fifth on the second one. No, I'm just kidding. So for the
You're
first,
doing real emergencies. Just say
that's
that.
that's true. Thank you,
The
Burma.
nurse
You're
here, the
Yeah.
nurse
hired.
will know because the
You're
nurse is
hired.
back there with you. That's
Oh,
why
are
she
you
knows.
Burma?
The
Burma? What do
nurse.
you? Well, there you go. Well,
Yeah.
what do you do? I shadowed
Look,
this ER doctor. And my dean at the school had said, have you ever thought about emergency medicine? I was like, what? So I did this rotation and I was like, I just did it for procedures. I was like, you have to get so many IV lines and so on when you're
Mhm.
in medical school to get procedures done, do so many traumas and things. So I went and I was like, wow, the AD. So for
this is
sure,
my gig.
this is my gig. These are my people.
Yeah.
Like, okay, so traumas,
Going back home, were you well received?
no.
Oh, that's so crazy.
No.
I know it's
Really?
crazy.
I'm sure
Yeah.
I'm not the only one who's told you that. There was a lot of
Yeah.
skepticism and what's the word? Skepticism and lack of trust, mistrust. Why are
Mm.
you
Why?
here? What are
Yeah.
are you coming to take our job? Do you think you're better
Yeah.
than us? Not actually, do you
That
think? There
one,
was
you think you're better
I
first
than
was
us.
waiting for
Oh,
that too.
the
Yeah.
assumption.
Hi everyone. How are you
Oh.
guys
Hey, hey.
doing?
hey.
We need to do better, man. Jesus, like,
I
hi.
know,
Like, we're
right?
half
The
asleep.
energy.
No,
The
we're like,
energy.
hey. I've been trying. I was like,
I know it's
hey.
summer. Weather's
We
nice.
are
Hot.
joined by Dr. Christine today. We are
Mm-hmm.
super excited to learn all about your journey, and what you do, and we are super excited that you joined us. We will jump right in. So tell us your name, tell us where you are from, and tell us, Shiro is
You're
laughing because I
welcome.
said your name and then I said tell us your name.
I know.
And then
I might have another
and
name.
you
I don't
exactly
Who
know.
right,
You
your
never
knows?
full
know.
name.
Who knows?
Tell us when you came to the US, what year, and what, those first few weeks, few months were like for you.
How much fun it was.
Absolutely. Sure. So yeah, so as you heard, my first name is Christine. My full name is Christine Modoni Ngaruya. The most the most common of Kikuyu names.
No,
Well,
I beat you. Mm-mm. I beat you with the
that's
most
true. Sure,
Kikuyu.
sure is pretty
Tot
common too.
totally
But
beat you there.
yes, but that's my name. So I'm from Kenya. Grew up in Nairobi specifically. I'm totally a city girl, and that reflects in my story as well coming to the US. But yeah, I came to the US in 2002. At the end of high school in Kenya. So I was born in the US, but I actually grew up in Kenya, very much identify as being
Wow.
Kenyan.
Mm.
Nice.
Left when I was 6, so I don't really remember much of the States as a kid, as a young child. And so came back in 2002 for college after high school in Kenya. I was 15, so we were pretty young. We
Mm.
did the British system, we did private school. We had skipped a couple years here and there, frankly, transitioning between the US and Kenya. So when we came back, we were fairly young. I say we being my older sister. So my sister had come a year before me and had sort of floundered her way through figuring out a little bit of the U.S. system. We were born in Nebraska, came back to Nebraska for college, and so knew a couple friends that my parents still had, family friends when we were coming back, but really no one, right? And
Mhm.
honestly, to be quite frank, because I know this is the nature of your podcast, I really thought it was going to be like what it was on TV. Like I thought there were going to be
Yeah.
Right?
sorority parties. There were sororities, not as inclusive as they look like on TV. That's what they don't tell you. And I thought that, college was going to be this like fun walk in the park, and you were going to like date all these boys, and you were going to party, and little did I know that, it wasn't exactly that. Still had a lot of fun in college and met a lot of really incredible people. I think that the 4-year university system in the US is an interesting place to sort of discover yourself. I mean, I think there's so many
Mhm.
things I learned, both just like about myself, but also just reacclimating to the US system and frankly acclimating to white predominant US system, a predominantly white school, highly predominantly white state.
Context, right? Nebraska.
Yeah.
Nebraska.
So yeah, so all those things. And we can dig into that more, but that was my
Woo,
landing.
Nebraska. Wow.
Nice.
So how did you end up being born in the US? What were your parents doing here?
Sure. Yeah. So the church, like many
Oh.
cases. So my dad's dad, so my grandfather on my father's side, paternal grandfather, was pretty senior bishop, like an archbishop in the Anglican Church back in
Mm.
the 60s, 70s. So he came to an Anglican conference, as it were, in the Midwest. And so one thing led to another. There was that actually ended up being our future godparents, one of our future godparents who were based in Colorado. So my dad, as a result, was the child who came as a result of that relationship to study university in the Midwest. He actually went to school in Kansas and then got his
Mhm.
first job at Mutual of Omaha, which is still in existence. It's like one of the big insurance, national insurance companies.
Mhm. Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
Software engineer. So he was one of the few, I think maybe like one of two blacks, maybe one of the only Africans as a
Wow.
software engineer back then at Mutual of Omaha. And that's how we ended up being Nebraska Kenyans a few years ago.
Okay.
Wow.
So yeah, so my mom eventually joined him. She was a multi hat wearing business entrepreneur. So she had a number of businesses while they were working here, and they had us as kids, and then moved back when I think, frankly, as a young couple, it probably got a little bit tough. And with little supports, they moved back when I was 6, my sister was 7.
Wow.
hmm
Okay.
So there was at that time, was there any diversity in Nebraska?
When I was in college, or when you went when I was a kid, like a little kid.
Would you remember before?
We have pictures from when we were little kids. I mean, frankly, we went to like a predominantly white church, and when I see
Yeah.
the pictures, I think we maybe had one other black
Oh,
family
wow.
member.
Lovely.
And
Yeah.
I remember our babysitters were white. I remember our like all of our friends, probably all my close friends that I remember when I was little,
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
Rebecca and Trisha.
Mhm.
They were all white. So we did have there was one Kenyan family who are still there. They're probably like one of the longest standing Kenyan families in Nebraska, and
Mm-hmm.
they were family friends. I don't know, the usual Kenyan parents
Mm-hmm.
know each other from back
Mhm.
home. Someone went to high school with somebody's cousin,
Yeah, somebody's cousin.
our niece, our aunt, your aunt and their uncle,
Yes.
yeah, that one. So they knew each other, and so we were dear friends with them, but pretty much not really. It was mostly
Yeah.
like that community, for
Mm-hmm.
better or worse. I mean, like I said, I remain grateful for the experience, and I think it taught
Yeah.
me a lot and set me
Mhm.
up for working, frankly, in predominantly white spaces as an adult. And it's not
Mhm.
the only part of my life I reflect on, but certainly that piece of Nebraska, I think, definitely taught me a
Mhm.
lot in that.
Are you in Nebraska right now?
Oh no, I'm in
Uh,
California.
Okay.
oh,
I mean I lived there for 8 years. I did
okay.
undergrad and then medical school there. Um,
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
my dad thought that I should stay there after that. He's like, well, why would
Nice.
you leave? Why would you leave
Yeah.
Nebraska? I mean, it's cheap, it's safe. So,
Mm-hmm.
classic who you father. So he thinks it's like the
Yes.
best thing since sliced bread. But I
Mm-hmm.
did leave after medical school. So I went to residency in Chapel Hill. So I was in North Carolina
Oh,
actually for 3 years.
okay.
I've lived in all
Nice
Oh,
I lived in all four corners, girl. Yeah. So I lived in North Carolina for 3 years, which I absolutely loved. Actually, how I know attorney, which is NRC, and then I moved to Connecticut for 10 years after that. So that was my longest
Okay.
adult stay, frankly, in the U.S. And
wow.
when I was faculty at Yale, and then I just got recruited for a job about 3 years ago to California. Never thought I would live here. Love it. And personally think it's like the best corner of the US. I mean, I'm not being biased, but I
Where?
live here
Where are you in
now.
California?
I'm in
Don't tell me San Diego.
Northern Cal. Sorry.
Okay.
I was gonna say, don't tell me San Diego because I
No,
think
no,
San
no.
Diego is like the best part of like it's just
Yeah,
everything
people
about
love
it is
San
just
Diego.
I
I
love San
haven't
Diego.
been, but I've heard great things. I need to go. So
Ugh,
but
you
I'm
should.
in the SF Bay Area. Yeah. So
San
Okay.
Fran.
Wow.
Mm.
So when you came back with your parents, did they came back to church as well, or did they got a job that they chose to come back to?
no, they didn't come back. They stayed in Kenya.
Oh,
So
just you guys
my
came back?
sister and I, yeah, came back by ourselves, yeah, which was
Oh.
the resettlement, challenge, I
Yeah.
suppose, and like just
Yeah.
trying to figure out what's Social Security at 15. Like, how do I get a
Uh,
job?
Oh, you were 15 when you came
yeah.
15. I
back.
was 15, 1 5 when I came back.
Wow.
So
So
who
Yeah.
you
did
went
you
to
live
high
with?
school.
We lived on campus. We actually
Oh,
legally
okay.
had to live on campus because we were under
Yeah.
18. So we couldn't live off campus until my sister turned turned 18, then we were allowed to move off campus. Yeah, in our
So you
like
were in
second, third year.
college at 15?
Oh,
Yeah,
nice.
I
Well,
graduated.
ma'am.
Yeah.
Okay.
Smart,
Figuring.
smart.
Oh,
Smart,
wow.
smart.
So how
Well,
was that like? Because you're
Yeah.
around like adults, basically.
you
Yeah.
know, I think, I think at that time, like you don't really think about those situations
Mm.
until like you look back. It's just like any situation we've all probably been in where maybe you were the only or the other, right? Until maybe like after the fact, you're like, wow, like that was kind of interesting. I didn't really think about it much at that time, except the fact that I couldn't get into bars. Don't get me wrong. This storyline so far sounds like I'm a party animal. I am not.
Yeah.
No,
However, I could
it's
not
all
get
right.
into bars because I was like, even when I went into medical school and started medical school, I was 19. So they used to make fun of me, like my classmates, because they're like, Christine can't come because she's
Thank
like
God.
19. So, so I mean, but I mean, socializing is a big part of like
Yeah, it
maturing
is.
and making
Right.
It
friends and
is.
finding your place in society, frankly, at that age. Like you have to be
Yeah.
able to socialize too. And like, so that was, but otherwise it really didn't make, I didn't notice it didn't make
Wow.
a big difference. Yeah. I do comment now that if I and I mentor to this effect as well, if I had to do this again, would I have done medical school that young? Do I recommend people going to med school that young? Probably not. Like I don't
Mm.
think I should have been talking to people two, three times my senior at like 20 years old when my brain technically wasn't still fully formed about their very intimate life and like personal details. Like was I mature
Mm.
enough to be doing that piece?
Yeah.
Mm.
Maybe not. And
Mm.
thankfully, U.S. med schools have actually, I think, started to recognize that a little bit. So, but
Mm.
otherwise, no, it wasn't really a thing. I don't think.
Wow.
It
So
made you
what
grow
did
up
you
fast, I
study?
bet.
Yeah, that's true.
What's that?
What did
It
you
made you grow
study?
up fast. Oop, my
Yeah,
bad.
yeah, yeah. I get you. Yeah, yeah. No, I agree. I agree. There's sometimes maybe again that partying thing. Maybe I didn't do it enough. I might have. No, I'm
The
just
No,
kidding.
party.
I'm with
That's
you on that,
good.
by the way. I didn't do partying enough in college either. Sometimes I look back and I'm like, dang it, I was working and going to school rather than doing
Yeah,
what I should
but
have been
that got you
doing.
guys where you are. I don't
That's
think
true. Yeah.
everybody that partied,
Yeah.
got where they needed to be at the time they wanted to be.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel
Yeah,
like we're all like kind of at the same place though. So, like I don't
yeah.
know. Shiro and I will, we'll talk later.
We should. I think we should address some of those missed times.
Missed opportunities. Yeah.
Missed opportunities. There you go.
Yeah.
So,
Sorry,
Christine,
So,
what
Marcia.
did you study in undergrad? And what
Um,
university did you go to?
Classic. So I was at the University of Nebraska in
Okay.
Lincoln,
uh,
which is like the largest of the three schools across the system. And I studied standard like pre-med. Although I was a humanities major, so I mean with pre-med you have to do a certain amount of sciences, which I wanted to do, of course, because I was going to medical school.
Mm.
You have to do so much bio, so much chem, so much physics, orgo, all those things. And then, but I studied sociology for my major actually, and
mhm.
psychology for my
Ah,
minor. So, yeah, so I was mentored by a really phenomenal person who I still reference and is now not just a colleague, but like a friend. So she
Mhm.
was my thesis mentor on the sociology of health, and in sociology, they have this branch of researchers or sociologists that look at like health equity issues. So when we talk about
Mm,
research and evidence
nice.
around health equity, access to care, things like that, there are a lot of sociologists who actually study that. And so
Mm,
I had, heard or, learned about, seen these things probably like growing up as a kid in Kenya, but never realized like there's like a science and there's systematic evidence around this kind of thing, and you can study it and you can create solutions and identify gaps to be able to have public health and
mhm.
policymakers address it. And that's what I did. That was like my undergrad thesis. That became my major. She became, like I said, just like one of the key pillars of success for my career, helped me write my first ever journal artitle. And
Nice.
so, yeah, so sociology was my major, and then psych
Hmm.
was my minor, and then pre-med in the background.
look at that,
Interesting.
Mhm.
right? So
That's
again,
awesome. Yeah.
people go in and they all do pre-med nursing, things
Mm,
that they're so, but you don't know that there's more to do with
mm-hmm,
science.
mm-hmm,
Mm.
That's pretty cool. So
mm-hmm.
anybody
Mm.
listening, look into that.
No,
Sociology.
you're
Now, does it
completely.
go with public health or is that two separate?
So it's not, so there's not really an undergrad there. Most undergrads don't technically have like a public health undergraduate degree. You can do
Mm.
things to the effect of like studying statistics or maybe doing like psych or like sociology. You could study medicine,
Mm.
like some of the bio classes, ethics classes, things like that to that effect. But most don't have like a true like public health undergrad, but it's a
Mm.
master's graduate degree usually.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, there's some schools I know that are trying to
Sociology.
lean towards like degrees that lean towards that, but
Mhm.
they're not really like public health in by name.
Mm.
Um, there's something you said
Mm.
that I was gonna address, which was yeah, I mean not knowing, like you don't know what you don't know for sure. Like I would
Mm.
Yeah.
never have done a sociology major if I didn't actually have to take it as a sociology 101 class in
Mm.
undergrad, which
Mm.
many of us have to do like at least in the US system for university, you have to do so many humanities classes, right? Like so
Yeah.
you do
Mm.
religious studies class and like one psych 101 class and whatever.
Mhm.
But and if I didn't have her as my lecturer, like it was just fortune and good
Yeah.
fortune that ended up that way. But and I always say like if I had known actually what anthropology was a little bit better back then, which is like even more intimate than sociology, it's like sort of the hyper study of cultures and individual practices that lean into patterns and changes in society. Like why does
Mhm.
Ebola keep coming back and
Mhm.
as the epidemic or as many outbreaks and going and sitting with those cultures, sitting with those communities and really learning like the core contributors and determinants of things and patterns of behaviors and outcomes. I think anthro is super interesting. So if I would have done it a different way, I might have actually studied that. But again, you just don't know what you don't know.
You don't know what you
Um,
don't know.
and I
It's true.
think my big takeaway for those that are listening to your point, the younger people, is like sitting in your college counselor's office and honestly just sitting and exploring and asking questions is something I can't
Mm.
recommend enough. Of course,
Mm.
Mhm.
not all college counselors or advisors are the same, but they
Yeah.
do have them. And if you're not feeling like you're getting enough answers with one, you can always go talk to another.
Another
So,
Mhm.
one. Yeah.
like my mentor, who was awesome as well, my college advisor, who was also great. Yeah.
Mm.
And I agree.
Oh.
And the one thing I like about the system here is in high school, they get exposed to all of these things. We
Mm,
had
Mhm.
geography,
hmm.
history, physics, so boxed,
Yeah.
structured. You don't know anything outside of that. Like
Hmm.
when,
Mm.
I
Mhm.
have
Hmm.
my sister's best friend, I think she did anthropology or something, I don't know, because she's
Nice.
usually out there in the Congo with
Hmm.
Mm.
studying, what's the Sarah Goodall? What's her
Oh, the
name? Is it?
gorillas?
Oh, the
The
lady.
gorillas.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
she's an
and
anthropologist. Yeah. Hmm.
Mm.
exactly. And she tells me what she does. I'm like, how did I not know? This sounds so cool.
Hmm.
Mm.
So
Mm.
cool. But you're
Hmm.
right. People just need to talk to their advisors and they'll get to learn and even visit different clubs and
Hmm.
talk to students,
Would
make
agree.
just know what people are doing, not just, I mean, partying is great, don't get me wrong. But
Partying. Okay.
but
Mm.
but get to know what people are actually doing and then get
Love it.
Mm.
exposed.
Love
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
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 So
Okay.
when we think about, I mean, I'm just thinking about you coming in at such a young age and
Mm.
no parents around, and I'm sure you felt like homesick and
Mm.
just staying focused. Like, what was the strategy, and how did you deal with being homesick when it comes to the food or stuff like that? If we look at the coming to America story,
Yeah, no, I
part of
agree.
it.
I mean, I think that I don't think any of us have been naive to that or been
Mm.
successful at not going through some phase of feeling homesick. But
Mm.
I think what helped us a lot or helped me a lot was our frankly our African community. Like
Mm.
Okay,
all of a
good.
sudden, your friend from Nigeria was like your closest
Yeah.
friend. Even though
Yeah.
I'd
Good.
never really had, I mean, we had a couple actually Nigerians in
Yeah, but not
in
the
my
same.
class in high school, but not the same. Like all of a
Mhm.
sudden, you had so much in common, even
Yeah.
though
Yeah.
on the continent, you would be like different languages, different food. You probably wouldn't even hang out.
Ex-
Jamaican friends became my closest
Mm.
friends. So people who you
mhm.
shared any kind of these similarities with
Mm.
suddenly became, shared commonalities around
Yeah.
struggles, around
Mhm.
background, around food types, and like teaching each other how
Mhm.
to cook. So frankly,
Mhm.
that was probably my biggest cornerstone. And then honestly, probably my church community.
Mm.
So I was really active in like campus ministry when I was a kid, and like our group was a denomination of the Assemblies of God, which is kind of interdenominational, and we just had
Mhm.
these this pastor couple who
Mhm.
were just like the best people. I mean, the
Oh,
best. They
nice.
were basically mom and dad to a lot of us, and a lot of us actually international students, not just from Africa or African descent.
Mhm.
Went to that youth group, but every week it was like having kind of a community, a family. There was like food you'd go to, and like the same friends. These people became like my roommates for college, not for college, but when I was in medical school, a couple of them became my mate roommates for a while. So yeah, I would say those are probably the two big things that helped. And then of course, at least
Mhm.
having one sister. I mean, there are people who come here I know all by
Alone.
themselves.
Yeah, I can
Mm.
Who,
imagine.
I mean, Nebraska is predominantly white, so that can be isolating, but
Mhm.
it's safe. It is very cold, but people are, for the most part, people are pretty kind, at least at the super
Mhm.
surface level. And yeah, so it's not as harsh as like moving to, I can't even imagine like a big city like, New
New
York,
York.
New
New
York,
Jersey,
yeah.
just being
Hmm.
like,
Jumping, I know.
Yeah.
so yeah, those are probably the big things that helped, I'd say.
Mm.
But yeah, I definitely was not immune to that as well, and just
Okay, cool.
Mm.
Yeah. And your dream was to become a doctor, or was it mom and dad behind you?
I mean, for sure, where mom and dad like the voice, of reason, even
Yeah.
when we were little. It's like, right, Attorney Mercy, and I know Cheryl know, it's like doctor, lawyer, engineer.
Lawyer.
Engineer.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's
Do we
it.
have do we have those three represented here, Cheryl? What do you do? I didn't ask you what you do.
I'm a data analyst.
Well, she's an engineer. We have all three.
There
Look at
you
that.
go.
Doctor, lawyer, engineer.
We are
Okay.
the fruits.
Case in
Yeah.
point.
Yes.
So certainly, growing up, parents strongly encouraged, but I actually really liked science. So I was
Okay.
fortunate in that I didn't feel like I was being forced. I really like physics. I enjoyed Orgo.
Okay.
I found maths problems interesting. And then I liked talking to people and I enjoyed the study of it, like the sociology of patterns of how health presents itself to. So I was really interested in it. I don't
Mm.
think the only other consideration I had probably when I was in college was because I like bio so much, I really find animals interesting, is that I would have been a zoologist. So,
Mm.
different type of animal. I work with humans,
Hmm.
but
Yeah.
Yeah.
in another life, I would have probably done something with animals. I just find them very interesting, and yeah. So, but
Interesting.
Do you have any animals? Dogs, cats?
I do. I have a dog. Here. I'm gonna
As
show him to you
expected.
guys. Leo, come. I'll show you guys. Actually, this is Juguna. He has
Juguna.
by
Oh, that's a
tradition, he
Kikuyu name,
has
guys.
a Kenyan, another common Kenyan
Name.
name.
Oh.
Hi to the
Hi.
viewers. You're gonna be famous.
First time we
That's
have a
so
dog
cute.
on the podcast, see?
I
I
know, right?
know.
We've had
Oh, so
kids
cute.
before.
We've had kids, I know.
They say
Nice.
they're
Oh.
they're like they're like 2-year-olds and never grow up.
True.
Oh, that is
Not as
so
So
many
you
cute.
have to
diapers, but
you have to
what's that?
walk it every day, no matter what. Sun, rain, sunshine,
I know, rain, snow,
snow.
Dogs are the best. Dogs are the
They don't
coolest.
talk back, right?
that's for
Yeah.
sure.
They don't talk back.
Yeah.
They talk enough and they know they sense, so they're just being such
Yeah.
a blessing. Yeah, you're a good boy.
Oh,
That's so cute.
that's
That
so
is so
cool.
cute.
So,
Mhm.
Christine, tell us about medical school. Like,
Yeah.
what, tell us how medical school works, because I know there's like several levels of it and several years of this and this and this. Can you walk us through like medical school?
Yeah, sure. So the bottom line is lots of exams.
Okay.
Like law, that's the bottom line. And if you can get past those exams, ultimately someone will let you out to be a doctor.
Mm.
Hopefully along the way you learn a few science concepts and like people. You don't
Mm.
have to like people because there's some specialties where you don't actually have to talk to people. A lot of people about some of them too. But ultimately, yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, when you decide to do medical school, you're gonna have to have some pre-med coursework, like core science, like know what an atom is from physics and know some orgo and how basic chemistry works and some of the bio and some of it is so technical that you really never see it again in your career, but it lays the foundation for medical school classes that
Mhm.
one will need no matter what you decide. So most of us of course do that over a 4-year curriculum in pre-med during undergrad. If someone decides later on in life to do it, it's very possible. There are 2-year cohorts that one can kind of run through. There are definitely what are called post-baccalaureate programs now, like kind of spread throughout the US, that are 1-year programs where a lot of medical schools will allow you to come in, well, apply, take a 1-year like rapid race through all these various science courses, study for the MCAT, which is number two, the most important. Pass the MCAT, get a passing and this, appreciable score, and that exam has changed a lot. Yeah, sure.
MCAT
Yeah.
and medical. What does
Okay.
MCAT stand for?
It's probably like medical college admission test or something. I don't know what the C
Okay.
stands for. It's been like more than 20
My
years.
bad.
Yes.
But it's actually changed even since I took it because I think they've now included a like a sociology medical college admissions test. They've actually like I think a sociology set of questions actually like humanoid
Mm.
questions to just the standard MCQ multiple choice questionnaire that we used to MCQ type test
Hmm.
we used to have, which is
Mm,
good. So it's like you need to be a
Mhm,
human to not just know how to like calculate
mm,
mhm,
a formula or know what a biological term is. So and then after you pass the MCAT, usually people do in their like third or fourth year of medical school, or you do your post bac and you apply and get in. Then you go into medical school. You apply obviously, and then you get into medical school
mhm,
for 4 years. There are some programs now across the country that have, I think they have like a 7 year undergrad combined, 6 or 7 year combined
mhm,
undergrad with medical school program, which is nice
mhm,
if you kind of know that early.
mhm,
I can certainly recommend it for people if they're super certain. Again, looking back, I think that there is something to be said, especially if you're starting as young as like I was, or if you're just not sure or exploring,
Hmm.
mhm,
do those 4 years of undergrad, or even like, because we're smart folks, a lot of us coming from Africa, it's a sub-selection of folks that make it here. Some people can
mhm,
frankly do undergrad in 3 years, like so, but
mm,
explore, try different things. And I think to me,
Hmm.
that's the beauty of the US undergrad system. Because you
mhm,
never know, like we talked
Hmm.
about, maybe that's one of the themes from today, what you might find yourself actually being more interested in.
Yeah.
mhm,
And then, yeah, so the 4 years of medical school, that one is standard. Usually the first 2 years are primarily like desk work, like science, although that's also changed a lot. They started
mhm,
bringing more patients into the first couple years, which is good. And then generally before the last 2 years, third year and fourth year, you're rotating across the different variety of clinical services across the hospital. You're going out in the community, kind of just
mhm,
seeing a variety of different ways to practice medicine,
mhm,
and some elective time to figure out like what you want to do as a specialist at that point.
mhm,
Because you cannot practice in the US until after medical school, you have to complete a residency, like have to.
mhm,
That's
And
when
how long is the residency?
yeah, so in Kenya we call them attachments or like
mm,
your intern year. So
Ah.
it depends on the specialty, but
Mm.
the shortest residencies are 3 years, and they go
Mm.
all the way up to like 7 years with folks like neurosurgery. The more hyper specialized
The
the
longer.
practice, the longer it is. So all the
and the
usually
more money it is at the end.
that's generally associated, exactly.
Yes.
Generally, for the most part, commensurate with at least past 5 years. Yeah, the numbers like are definitely like
Mhm,
mm.
like yeah, they're
absolutely. Yeah.
directly associated. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
where
I
did you
know.
go for medical school and what did you end up specializing in?
Yeah.
Specializing.
Yeah,
Uh,
so which is why I said it's like generally associated because the association with pain, I'll answer this question next, is mostly with highly procedural specialties. So the more
Mm,
procedural a specialty, generally, the more they get paid. The
mhm,
idea is that if you're getting devices and tools and technical
mhm,
experts and things, and you need a special skill set to be able to cut this person's eyeball open, or
mhm,
cut this abscess open, or poke a hole in their chest because their lung collapsed or whatever,
mhm,
those are highly billable and chargeable things. And
mhm,
so those types of people and skill sets tend to make more money. So
mhm.
I did emergency medicine, which is
No,
one of
nice.
the procedural specialties. So we make
Yeah.
a little bit more money. Uh, so I did emergency medicine. Can talk about that story a bit if we have time. But I did emergency medicine, which is actually a 3 or 4 year program. I did it in a 3 year program because I wanted to go through a 3 year program. It's a little quicker. And yeah, I love it. So
Oh, good. Yeah.
yeah.
That's good.
Mhm.
That's good.
very
So,
interesting.
how much fun was that? 3 years. That sounds like you're in a freaking hamster, just going.
Working,
Yeah.
studying, studying,
So
studying, studying.
so
Yeah.
the good news is that yes, it residency is tough. I mean, the first year, intern year is there's just no way past it. I think it's again, I'd probably draw the corollary to law. There's just so much you have to learn, like, and
Mhm,
that you have to
Mm,
apply in your first year. You're brand new out of school. Yes, you were in the books, but now you
mhm.
have to like apply all this
Yeah.
knowledge.
Apply this.
People expect you
Yeah.
Yeah.
to know, and you're never really alone for the most part in the
mm,
US. Like it's a high litigious society, obviously. So there's always an attending or someone watching you, a fellow or somebody, but you're still expected to be the first response a lot of the times. So
Mhm,
first intern year is rough. rough. It's rough. It's tough. It for me it was isolating. I question myself. You question
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
like your smarts. You're being thrown in alto, especially like if you're going into a pretty competitive program, which in the Southeast, I would say like I was at definitely one of the top programs as well. Equally like smart nine other people, and you're kind of being pitched against
Yeah.
each other, being asked questions, and it's like,
Mhm.
am I meant to do this? But after
Yeah.
you make it through that, and ideally your second, third year, you are getting paid. That's the one good thing. So it's
Oh, good.
unlike
Okay.
the Kenyan context in some places outside of the US. You actually get paid during residency, so you're getting a salary that makes it a little bit
Good.
better.
Oh,
Mhm.
that's
Um,
good.
but
Mhm.
yeah. So those were 3 years of my life.
Mhm.
How did
Probably wouldn't
you
repeat those.
exactly? So based on that statement, how did you stay like connected? Like you know what? No, I can't do this anymore. Like what's going on through your mind and just to keep pushing.
That's a good question. I think, and this is probably another good takeaway, is like finding your people outside of your job.
Mhm.
Finding your people
Mm,
and your support outside of your job, because I
Mhm.
think especially in this culture, in the US, definitely sometimes in medicine and these other like highly competitive specialties, the same thing in like I think in like data science, in like tech, people are highly competitive. People throw you under the
very.
bus. Sometimes your bosses
Mhm.
don't get it. There's frank racism, there's implicit bias, there's all kind of things, there's gender bias,
Mhm.
any number of things. And so I think you really have to find your joy
Mhm.
and
Somewhere.
yeah, somewhere else. And a way to fill yourself up. I mean, ideally the job is also fulfilling. And I did like my job, but like the first
Mhm.
year was just super, engineer is hard. And
Mhm.
some of your rotations are just are super hard, gonna be super hard too, no matter which way you slice and dice them. So again, I was for me, part of that was the church. I did have my sister fight, just complete happenstance, also lived in North Carolina at the same time. She still lives there. I
Mhm.
don't anymore. And then just some really couple like really good friends who were in the community. And then I had a couple solid friends too, like within
Yeah.
my department, who were like my people. And then usually like just like any job, I think attaching to not everybody initially at that job, but like there's just like that one or two people who kind of get you, hopefully a leader
Mm-hmm.
or
Mhm.
both like person, and then
Mhm.
hopefully a peer that at least like is your go-to, that you all are like
Yeah.
on the same page, you get each other. And
Mhm.
so those are probably the core themes I'd say for that.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm. Did you
Definitely.
had any misconception? Growing up, you see doctors, and once you became one, did you had any
Yeah.
misconception?
That's
Then
such a
once you
good
got there, you're like, oh my God.
Yeah, that's such a good question. Like I
Yeah.
was talking about this recently to someone, I can't remember who, and I was just like, the funny thing about medical school for me, I had no clue. And that's
Oh,
what being first gen
that
is
I
about.
think that's a good
I had
thing.
no
Yeah.
clue. I
Mm-hmm.
had no clue.
Mm-hmm.
The slightest ideas of what I had about it were doing a little bit of shadowing here or so in undergrad, which we all try to
Mm-hmm.
do.
Mm-hmm.
But that doesn't even like cut what they water everything
True.
down for you. They're trying to make you feel super comfortable. They let you leave early. It's
Right.
like this is too gross. You can go stand over there. People are like, oh, get out of the way. We kind of need this space here.
Yeah.
So I just had no idea. I think so. I don't think I had conceptions except to know how hard intern year would be, how little sleep I could go off
Mm-hmm.
of,
Mm.
and how much I could push myself, frankly. I mean, like, definitely, I think top hardest things I've done in life, amongst them are getting into medical school, getting
Mm.
through intern year residency. Intern year residency is
Wow.
probably the hardest, yeah, for me.
Uh-huh. Mm.
And then the
Nice.
rest, like, are after that.
It reminds me of you, Marcy.
Oh.
You're saying you wanted to be a lawyer because you saw, who was it, your uncle?
My
Your
And you're
aunt,
like,
cousin.
yeah.
your cousin, like, that
My
looks
cousin.
nice. Okay, I
I know,
think I want to
right?
do that.
From a
You
Yeah.
have no
distance.
idea.
No
So,
idea.
Christine, let me ask you two questions.
Sure.
First one is, how did you choose emergency medicine?
Yeah.
And
Mm.
then I'll add the next question so you can think about it together.
Mm.
My second question is, when we are at the emergency room and the doctor is not coming, what are you guys doing back there?
They're dealing with real emergencies.
I'm gonna plead the fifth on the second one. No, I'm just kidding. So for the
You're
third,
doing real emergencies. Just say that.
that's true. Thank you,
The
Burma.
nurse
You're
here, the
Yeah.
nurse
hired.
will know because the
You're
nurse is
hired.
back there with you. That's
Oh,
why
are
she
you
knows.
Burma?
The
Burma? What do
nurse.
well, there you go. What kind of
Yeah.
nursing do you do? Look, I should have
Oh,
asked you all
like,
before. What kind of nursing do you do?
Right now, I've done the nursing home, the hospital,
Sure.
the home health, but right now I'm in the clinic,
Amazing. What kind
like
of clinic?
family medicine.
Fantastic.
Yeah,
Yes.
I know.
So
Yeah.
Burmo just answered your second question. So
Yes,
there's,
No,
absolutely.
no,
Because
no,
I
no.
get that
You
all the
have to
time.
answer.
I get that all the time. Like, why is the doctor late? I'm like, because we had somebody that just had a blood sugar of I don't know how much. She needs to figure that out. But you here because your ears are clogged. Okay,
exactly.
we'll deal with that later. Okay.
Wow.
Exactly.
Yeah, we're not
Exactly.
trying to be
Case
mean, but like
closed.
people really
Mic drop.
are
Yeah.
going
So
through it.
great.
Yeah.
So I think I don't need to answer the second question. So the first
Yes.
question, no,
Got you. This
you
is
know
what
what?
we hear, the nurses. We got you.
Exactly. So for the first question, no, it's super funny for those that are thinking about medicine. So I didn't even know what emergency medicine was. Again, this is again first gen problems. You don't know anything. Like didn't know what I didn't know. Until I got exposed on a rotation and another fantastic person who's like another cornerstone person from my life in Nebraska, who's an emergency medicine physician woman. So I thought I actually wanted to do hem-onc. I was really passionate oncology. So I was really passionate about
Okay.
oncology. I had a very close family
Mm,
member, actually my mother, who had breast cancer, and I was like, I'm gonna be an
mm,
oncologist. I'm gonna like help people who have, cancers. And I
mm,
shadowed oncologists and I shadowed some MD PhDs, which I also wanted to do, and talked to a lot of people. And I was like, man, like, oh, I don't think that
Mm,
clinic life is for me.
mm,
Like, I really
mm,
want to help people. And I actually do study cancer now. That's like most of what my research
mm.
is on cancer and non-communicable
ah,
diseases. So there you
Oh,
go.
nice.
I help
Hmm.
in a different way. But the clinic life just wasn't for me. Like coming to an office 8 to 5 every day, rounding in the hospital, like
Mm.
waking up at 5 most days of the
Ooh.
week to go round from like 7 to 9, ugh, or beyond. Like I was just like, this is not wellness. And so I shadowed this ER doctor. And my dean at the school had said, have you ever thought about emergency medicine? I was like, what? So I did this rotation and I was like, I just did it for procedures. I was like, you have to get IV, so many IV lines and so on when you're
Mm.
in medical school to get procedures done, do so many traumas and things. So I went and I was like, wow, the AD. So for
this is
sure,
my gig.
this is my gig. These are my people.
Yeah.
Like, okay, so traumas come in, but you also have like the homeless guy on the street who has nowhere else to go, who comes
Yeah.
in because he has the
Hmm.
trash and no one wants to help him access care. And I
Yeah.
cared a lot about
Oh.
marginalized populations. You also
Mhm.
get to see a diversity of disease processes. So it's
Yeah.
never like just one thing. There's that
Mhm.
uncertainty of you don't know what's going to come in, which some people really cannot tolerate, but some of us
Mhm.
like kind of like thrive off a little bit.
Yeah.
But you just never know what's going to come in. Today I could have rashes and pneumonia and colds, and tomorrow I could have a stubbed toe, a broken arm,
Mhm.
a trauma case, a mom who's delivering their baby in the ER. There could be any number of things, and I like that diversity.
Mm.
Frankly, when it comes down to logistical life pieces, emergency medicine is one of the most desirable because it's shift work. So you
Mm.
work, your 8-hour shifts, or in some cases 12-hour shifts in the US, and you're done. You go home. I don't have a pager. Right? I'm
Mhm.
free. I'm here with my dog, chilling, Julio. No one can call
Oh,
me
that's
when
good.
I'm off clinical work. And you can usually also control the number of shifts you're doing depending on where you're working.
Mm.
And like I said, the salary is actually quite decent. And
Mm.
then the major career piece for me is that I wanted to do global health. So I knew I always wanted to move back home, do
Mm.
work there, slash contribute to work there, whether it's through research or clinical. And like a few other specialties, emergency medicine teaches you everything from the child to the adult. It teaches you about
Mm-hmm.
critical care. It teaches you so that I can deal with a very sick patient. I can deal with a very basic toe stub. As I mentioned, toe stubs aren't always mild, not to poo-poo those, but I can deal with the spectrum and I can bring
Yeah.
that to a global health context. So you also find a decent number of people who do emergency medicine in the US also have a global health leaning, like they want to do global health work. There are a few others, like I said, like sometimes med peds, which is both peds and adult, um, family medicine that are, because you get that full spectrum of the patient.
Mhm.
Now more and more as time has gone by, of course, there's roles for everybody, surgery and so on and so forth. But like, having that broad spectrum
Mm-hmm.
was really helpful to me. So there were multiple reasons, but those are some of the main reasons.
Mm. And where are you in that process of like going home and helping back home? Is it something you're still working on?
No, so I'm actually there almost
Oh,
depending
nice.
on the year, like 40% of the time. So
Okay.
Oh.
yeah,
Nice.
so increasingly more over the past decade. So I have a research lab called the NCD Rights Lab,
Oh,
which
okay.
is a hub, NCD meaning non-communicable disease or non-infectious, non-transmissible diseases.
Mm.
And so for my lab, we've been doing this research. I've been doing this research, collaborating with the Kenyan government,
Oh,
collaborating
nice.
with 10 other partners across the country. I've also done some work in Uganda, some work in
Mm.
actually in Republic of Congo, not DRC,
Oh,
Wow.
in
okay.
Pakistan, and a variety of other places. And then I do a variety of capacity building work um, through emergency care, the Africa Emergency Care Organization called the African Federation for Emergency Medicine. So
Oh,
yes, very
nice.
active on the continent, frequently there,
That's
teaching,
awesome.
mentoring, doing
Yeah.
research. I don't do clinical work when I'm there. I refuse to take someone else's job, but we
Okay.
need to pay our
Oh,
doctors
that's
and
nice.
nurses in Africa.
Right.
That's very nice.
But I do find my role and my goal is to help with that
Mhm.
research capacity strengthening.
Oh, perfect.
Wow.
That's awesome.
That's,
Yeah.
if your team is looking for somebody to manage your data, let us know. We
She
can
will
Good
find
be
to
people.
know.
she
Let's
We
will
can
be
talk to
looking
people
for a
for
job.
you.
let's talk.
This is
Let's
me trying
Every
to move
podcast,
back.
No,
every
I
podcast she
will,
was
I,
offering her
yeah,
services.
I will lose these ladies very soon.
I know,
Anytime
right?
you have somebody who's moved back, they're like, okay,
I
how
know.
do I join you?
Tell us
Hey, I
about your
mean,
experience because ours is next.
no
I'm
place
just
like
saying.
Africa. No place like home.
I mean, don't worry, Marcy. We'll work out the time zone.
Yeah.
There.
Okay.
Yeah,
And
we'll work out the time zone.
and one question, uh, going back home, were you well received?
No.
Oh, that's so crazy.
No.
I know it's
Really?
crazy.
I'm sure
Yeah.
I'm not the only one who's told you that. There was a lot of
Yeah.
skepticism and what's the word? Skepticism and lack of trust, mistrust. You know,
Mm,
why are you
Why?
here? What are
yeah.
are you coming to take our job? Do you think you're better
Yeah.
than us? Not actually do you
That
think. There
one,
was
you think you're better
I
first
than
was
us.
waiting
Oh,
for that too.
the
yeah.
assumption that you definitely think you're better than us. So,
Yeah.
but I learned, there's something to be said for managing privilege, okay, because we are
Mm,
very
Mm,
privileged. And so
mhm,
yes.
I actually now think it is our job to go there
I do
managing
that.
that privilege.
Mhm,
Now, is it sad that that is in existence, that we have this mistrust amongst, and
That's
I don't think it's ubiquitous across African countries, but it's a thing in Kenya where there's
mhm.
this mistrust or like
That's true. Yeah.
perceived jealousy or whatever. But
Mm-hmm.
I manage it in that, like, I'm gonna manage my privilege. I'm gonna listen to what you have to say. I'm gonna sit down.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna like put myself below you because you probably do know way more than I do in certain things that
Mm-hmm.
I need to know about and all those
Mm-hmm.
things, in managing conversations. And that's kind of helped. But I mean, also when you get to be a bit more senior, which I am
Mm-hmm.
at this point, there is some recognition of your
Yeah.
expertise,
Mm-hmm.
your knowledge base. I get invited for a lot of talks. I was just in
Mhm.
Kenya 2 months ago speaking at one of the national heart attack conferences, and I
Mm-hmm.
think I was the only Kenyan diasporan that spoke.
Oh.
There
Mm.
were
Oh.
other, international folks, a couple other
Yeah.
international folks, but I think I was the only Kenyan diaspora and from the US
Mm-hmm.
invited. So, there's some level of like people like, okay, she knows a few things about a few things,
Yeah.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
which makes
That's
it a
true.
bit easier. But still, I mean, you still see it. So I think it's
Yeah.
our job though, again, to help try to manage that. I wish it was different, but
Yeah,
Yeah.
but no.
And me coming from Kenya, I know
Mm-hmm.
my people.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that her name is Christine Garoya and then she has an accent, already there's this thing of what? But
Mm-hmm.
then you are very wise to be able to say manage your privileges. Not many people are able to see that,
mhm.
right? That's a pretty I like how you've put that. I really like that. But
Mhm.
it's true. My friend Susan, when she moved, even her, it's like, what do you think? What, you're coming from there because you're better than us?
Mm-hmm.
But once they open up, I think
A beautiful thing.
they hear you and they
Mm-hmm.
see you and they see you're there for their growth
Exactly.
and
Mm-hmm.
development,
Right.
then it gets better. So
Yeah. And I mean, I genuinely do believe it. It's not some like performance that I'm like, oh, I really do believe that, especially in global health, like
yeah.
I cannot come from my Stanford experience and tell you how we're going to do this public health intervention at Kenyatta because you know better
Mm-hmm.
than I do. That's just the
Yeah.
Yeah.
end all of it. That's
Hmm.
literally the means in which I'm interacting with folks. And you're
Mhm.
right, Shiro. Like once you've established trust with a few people, it kind of
Hmm.
I think
Mm-hmm.
just begets more.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I mean, it's been 10 years now of collaborations and
Oh,
collaborators. And so
nice.
it's more
That's
so now like
nice.
word of mouth, or people will be like, oh, yeah, I've seen you, or I know you, Christine, or can you come work
Yeah.
with us on this thing? So,
Mm-hmm.
time, folks just being understanding that, to your very important question, that
Hmm.
you might be received a certain way, but trust and time and patience and managing privilege.
Works.
Mm-hmm. Mhm.
Wow.
Mhm. I agree.
What,
Yeah.
where is
Mhm.
AI playing in your world right now? Because you
Mhm.
know, it's
Yeah.
all the hype right now. If I hear
Everywhere.
those two
Mhm.
letters one more time,
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, so I actually focus on AI in some of my research. So some of our work. So uh, about when I did my master's degree at the London School of Hygiene and Tropical Medicine, I stumbled upon, as happens in careers, a mentor who was willing to work on a project with me in Kenya, but she does digital health work. Like she focuses on mobile health technologies to help public health. So I was like, okay, what is this thing about? Come to find out, in this study that we did, for example, where men and women both were receiving text messages for this clinic reminder thing, that the
Mhm.
women are actually 2 times more likely to access the mobile phone for these health
Mhm.
related information compared
Mm.
to men. So
Mhm.
that was kind of, yeah, that was kind of like the start of a career into digital health interventions and tools that, thinking about, Kenya, for example. I speak of Kenya because I know Kenya, but I know there's other
Mhm.
parts of Africa.
Yeah.
Kenya, for example, is cited to have 160% penetration of mobile phones. Okay,
Mm.
160% means like people don't have just one phone, they on
Yeah.
average have like one or two phones. Yeah.
yep,
True.
it's
So,
true.
Yes.
right? So,
Yeah.
and we know that to be true because we all go home and we all
Yeah.
have two or three.
Yeah.
And and so someone might not have food, they might not have, frankly, a great shelter, but they'll have phones.
Yeah, they're
And
fun.
so
Yeah.
Two
how do
of
you
them.
use, exactly,
Yeah,
two of them,
Mhm.
and their kid
Yeah.
has
it's
a phone.
crazy.
And so how do you
Mhm.
use these mobile phones or mobile health technologies to affect data collection, increase data collection, increase health education, increase linkage to care, also many things across the spectrum in health and public health that
Mhm.
we can improve upon. And so we actually have built now two different AI tools that use AI, for example, in with research funded work actually through Gates Foundation. So we have one project collaborating with partners there with my lab, that called Afia AI. One was a health
Mhm.
education app, Afia meaning knowledge,
Mhm.
a health education app using AI to target youth in Kenya on non-infectious, non-communicable diseases.
Mhm.
And the second one is a cervical cancer focused tool that clinicians can use in like hospitals and clinics, to be able to extract primary cervical cancer data and be able
Mhm.
to guide their care for, when Mary, your cervical cancer patient who's Kenyan, comes in, it's giving you guidelines and specific data
Mhm.
Yeah.
on the Kenyan context, not from Europe, not from the US, but from
Mhm.
Kenya.
Wow.
So
Oh,
Mhm.
nice.
two
Yeah.
tools. So yeah, really interested in using it in a variety of different ways. We have another tool that we're hoping to develop. We have some prototype, like a developing prototype, to use AI to read EKGs. So EKGs are
Mhm.
electrocardiograms. So you
Mhm.
never know who you might get in Kenya when you go to the ER or the clinic to read your
Mhm.
Yeah.
EKG. It could be someone who's never been taught to read an EKG or read an
Mhm.
EKG well, because of course physicians
Oh,
definitely are
wow.
few and far between. But
Mhm.
AI can read EKGs pretty well,
Yeah.
Mm.
Mhm.
pretty darn well actually, and at least tell you, okay, does this person have a heart
Huh.
attack? Yes,
Yeah.
send them
Really?
to blank. Does this person
Mhm.
not have a heart attack? No. Maybe
Mhm.
don't send them and waste their, entire household's income to send them to Nairobi because you think they had a heart attack and they actually don't.
Oh.
So,
Wow.
yeah,
That's pretty cool.
so there are a lot
Mhm.
of interesting tools for it. I think it's definitely the way of the future, Shiro. So
Mhm.
hopefully
Yeah.
you're also on
Girl.
board.
We have to embrace it. Yeah.
Yeah, we do. It's
Yeah.
here. So
So where'd you get your
Yeah.
funding from
all
for
over. I've been
all these
really
projects?
blessed. So I'm really blessed. I mean, I've raised, I think now we're like 3.5 million over the past 6 years.
Oh, nice.
So
Yeah.
federal grants. So I've been fortunate to
Wow.
have some US
That's
NIH federal grants. Yeah. I had once was part of a USAID grant many years ago when it was still there. I have had a couple of, like I said, co-funded for Gates grants. I've been
mhm.
funded by Yale, my former university, been funded by Stanford, now my current university. Um,
Mhm.
and then a few other foundations and between a few other like gifts. So
Wow.
yeah, lots of different places, always looking for money in different spaces to fund, our
Mhm.
work. And I say like really just to
Yeah.
to fund Africa and our people and like see equitable
Mhm.
outcomes, because
Yeah.
Yeah,
there's no reason why no matter where someone lives, they shouldn't have equal access to
I
non-infectious
agree.
care.
Yeah,
Mhm.
It's
absolutely.
true. It's true. And
Absolutely.
you know, I mean, I could ask you a million questions, but I'm
I
gonna slow
know.
down for now. I'm gonna slow down. But I'm curious I mean, when it comes to funding, I get intimidated by the thought of going through that process. What's a short version of how you approach to just trying to get funding, these people to fund you?
You know what's funny? You're right. Grant writing and like seeking funding is, I think, definitely a polarizing thing. It's one of the things people either love it or hate it. I'm one of those people who actually love it. I just find it as a challenge. I'm like, my whole undercurrent of writing a grant is trying to convince someone. You're just trying to convince somebody
Yeah.
about a storyline that's
You're a
important, something is
salesperson in nature, it looks like.
pretty much, honestly, pretty much. So,
Yes.
but
Yeah, it sells.
but the win on the other side is hiring 5
Yeah.
new Kenyan people on staff,
Mm.
is,
Yeah.
funding a really important study that's not been done, maybe a new technology that can be uptaken not just in Kenya but across Africa. Like, so the win at the end for me, like, overlies like
Yeah.
belies so many other potential pain points. Actually, I'm in the middle of
Mm.
writing a grant right now. I'm always in the middle of writing a grant. I'm in the heart of writing a grant that's like due today/tomorrow. So
Okay.
I don't really think of the pain point anymore. And then the other piece is like just like everything
Wow.
else, once you've been doing it like for so long, some of the like pain point
Yeah.
pieces become, more mundane, and I can kind of do them with my eyes
Yeah.
closed. But
Mm.
yeah, no, I mean, but the
Mhm.
storytelling part, that's what a grant is. It's just storytelling.
Mhm.
Like,
Mhm.
why is this important? Why should you
Yeah.
care about it? Like, what is the
Mhm.
impact and why should you fund us? Yeah.
Mm.
Mhm.
So, I like, this is one anecdote which just like sinks it for me. So my first ever grant I ever wrote, I was actually in undergrad. So I think like I was a president of the African Student Association, and I was the first girl, and I was like 16 or 17 at that time, and the quite frankly the guys weren't willing to help
Goodness.
me. Like the last president just like skedaddled, and I was like, and some of the guys were like frankly kind of bullies, and they're like, oh, you're not going to do a good job, and
Yeah.
whatever the case. We had this annual African event, like we all do, right? Like
Mhm.
annual African cultural event. And every
Mhm.
year they got this money from Pepsi Foundation. I still remember it to this day. And I was
Mhm.
like, what am I supposed to write to Pepsi to tell them to give me money? And I put my words together, no AI back then, put my
Right.
words together on this like, I
No
think it
Oh,
was like a
ChatGPT.
yeah.
one-page thing. But they gave us the grant. They gave us, I don't know, it was maybe like
Oh,
$1,000 or $2,000. But
nice.
I was like, wait
But
a minute.
still, it's a
You, the
win.
Like I
Kikuyu
can
in
do
me
this.
came alive, Shiro. The Kikuyu.
Yeah.
I was like,
You
you
were
mean
like,
you can
oh,
write
I
words to
like
people
this.
and they can give you money?
Money, I know.
They give you money
They can just give you money like that?
Yeah.
Just free money?
just like that.
Uh-huh.
No. And the rest was history. That was my
Yeah.
first grant I ever wrote, actually.
Wow.
That is
That's
so
Wow.
cool.
interesting.
I
Yeah.
think though you're already wired for that high strong risk kinda. You're just wired like that, I think. So it's easy
Mhm.
for you to approach emergency medicine,
Mm.
writing grants
No,
to
I
ask
agree.
Mhm.
whatever to ask for grants. It's just for me, it's just like
Mhm.
it's intimidating.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, there are definitely some social and probably environmental things that got me there. You have to write a lot. I mean, if you're writing a grant, you have to like writing. So if you don't like
Mm.
writing,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
not
And
going to
forget
work.
it. Yeah.
And the other
Mm-hmm.
person, just one point, like, and this is something maybe to the adults, like with the kids, is like getting your kids writing when they're young. Like my sister writes even heftier grants than I do. She's like, I'm
Mm.
just like,
Oh,
oh, yuck. Like
What?
she writes, I like write maybe 100 or work on a couple hundred page grants. She works on like 500-page grants that are
Oh,
like tens of
wow.
damn.
millions of dollars, like big, big,
Yeah.
big federal grants. That's what she does. That's she's actually a nonprofit consultant. That's her job.
Oh, okay.
Oh, wow.
One of her jobs. But but we always kind of sit and think like when we were kids, our mom gave us diaries,
Mhm.
and I don't know if
Yeah.
y'all, when you were little girls, your moms gave you, I don't know, like
Mhm.
we grew up, us, we were born in the US, so this is probably a US
Mhm.
thing. So, but we had diaries and we used to write. I'm like,
Mhm.
I really think, seriously, my theory is
Let's
like
start
our love
there.
for
Yeah.
Yeah.
writing came
Mhm.
there. Because I
Mm.
don't mind writing. I can sit, I mean,
Mm.
I want to do it. I want to go outside in the sun, walk my dog, Julio.
Mhm.
But I like writing.
Yeah.
So
Mm.
that one is an undercurrent. Like if you don't like writing,
Mm.
it's gonna be tough to write grants.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's true.
Hmm.
That's, that's awesome.
Wow. I mean, I can talk to you all
I
day,
know.
I
Christy.
know.
All
A lot you
day.
can
Well, it's
I
ask
feel like
questions.
fun.
we just scratched the surface.
Yeah.
So
So,
yeah, I know.
yeah.
Work-life balance.
Yes. So tell us
Yeah.
what you do for fun, because I mean you have a lot going on. You have like a lot of very important things you do.
I hope you're partying
I
now.
know, right?
So,
We'll talk about that
you're
at the next
catching up.
podcast, Shiro. Okay. Like, Anyway, no, yes,
Okay.
I do enjoy socializing, actually hang out with friends, going out. But honestly, travel is like probably my
Mm,
my big rest.
mm,
I find so much joy in travel. It's an expensive hobby, but it's a hobby. So even local travel, I just love to travel and see new
mm,
things, be challenged by
Mhm.
new sights, be thrown into unfamiliar settings. But also just on the day-to-day, more practical. So I am very intentional about scheduling in breaks.
Mm.
So, for example, for me, I usually don't share this so that bosses don't hear it, but I can share this small casual. Like Friday afternoons, I'm actually blocked off for nothing. Like that is
Mm.
veg time.
Good.
Like sit and like whatever, flick through Prime or go walk
mhm,
with my dog. Like I don't, it's a nothing afternoon. I cannot do
Mm.
anything work
Good.
related, anything that's right here. And then
yeah.
at least like once a
Mhm.
month, I try to schedule like a true wellness day. And for me, honestly, that's like sauna, massage. I try to like
That's good.
a lot. I know a lot of people don't find workouts relaxing. I do find it relaxing, so I try to work out if I can. Most days, if I can, that usually doesn't happen.
Mm,
Like 3 days out of the week, at least
Mm.
go for a walk or something, just to
mm,
like detach. And like audiobooks
Mhm.
too. I don't do as much
mm,
like physical reading anymore because of just this busyness, but like a nice audiobook with a walk. So yeah, I'm pretty intentional about it, like on a day to day with those
mm,
small nuggets. Definitely once a week with like blocked off schedule of full rest, and then like once
mm,
a month with like a big lift of some kind of wellness activity.
mm,
Nice.
mm.
Yeah, I
And you
like
like
I'll
to
that.
steal
travel
that.
alone, or do you travel alone? And when was your last, like, where did you go last, and what's your next big travel?
Sure.
I
Oh my
wonder, because I
goodness.
love traveling myself, so
You do.
I like to know.
Ah, well then
Yes.
you'll love my recent trip. So I usually travel by myself actually. I do a lot of
Oh,
solo travel
okay.
because I do a lot of last minute travel, unfortunately.
Oh,
But also
yeah.
sometimes the stress of like, coordinating. However,
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
my
Mm-hmm.
last big trip was 2 weeks ago, and I did do a group trip. It was an early birthday trip for a
Oh,
big
nice.
birthday this year. I went with 12 of my like best friends of life, girlfriends.
Oh, nice.
And we went to south of
Oh,
France, the Côte d'Azur, and
Oh, okay.
French
Nice.
Riviera, and Monaco Grand Prix. So we were in
Oh, nice.
Nice and
Yeah.
Saint-Tropez and
Okay.
Cannes.
Oh, that
If you
sounds
could
like
just
fun.
travel a little.
I
Beautiful.
know.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
was highly recommended. I don't think there's a person who wouldn't like. There's something for everybody down there. And
Mm.
then
Yeah.
it's so peaceful. And then the Monaco
Mm.
Grand Prix, and we were like sitting across from Lewis Hamilton's like
Oh,
pit stop. It was so
nice. You did
Ooh.
it. You're doing it big.
That sounds
that was a
nice.
big trip. That was a huge trip. That was a big one.
Yes.
I don't usually
Yeah.
necessarily do it
That's
quite that big, but that was a big trip. But yeah, usually just by myself. I just like
okay.
nice
Oh,
something.
that's nice.
Yeah.
See, ladies, we're gonna get it together. We can get
I
ourselves to
know we
Charlotte, even
can.
though 3
Please.
hours away.
Hey, Christine, we can't barely go to dinner.
I
We
know.
take
Yeah.
how long does it
No,
take to plan? How many? 7 of us? 6 of us?
we still have a gift exchange from like 2 years ago.
Yes.
Guys are so
And
fun.
you're making it to France with 12 people.
Can you
Guys, we gotta
imagine?
get it together, man.
We need to get it together.
I can
I
help
Oh
you
know.
my
all if you
God.
want.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm not very brave at traveling by myself. I think maybe once the kids are, away with school and stuff, maybe I'll jump into that. But I like to have somebody that I can bug or, talk to. Because I'm not like your socialite. Unless we start getting to know each other, then I really
Mm,
open up. But those
Yeah.
beginning, I'm like,
yeah.
I'm gonna
Yeah,
be
I get it.
bored.
It's different for everyone. I agree. I agree. That's
Yes,
awesome,
That
man.
sounds like
that's
a very
awesome.
fun trip. Very
Yeah.
fun.
I
I
recommend.
know.
Yeah.
Where's your next trip? Do you know?
Oh my gosh, is it that time?
Yeah. Well, yeah, no, I'm
Bema
taking a
wants to jump
break.
in.
I
Yeah,
know.
I know. I'm
I'm
taking a
like,
break
tell
for all
me,
that.
maybe I'll come.
So yeah, no. Well, I mean, so my one big trip I take every year is for my birthday, definitely by myself because I don't want anybody like bringing like
Yeah.
any of their
Problem.
stuff. I'm
Drama.
like, no. So I go by myself, and so actually, I really finally want to go to India. So in October,
Oh,
plan is
Oh.
India.
okay.
If anybody has heard about it, there's a age old, centuries old wellness practice. It's not even just wellness; it's like a way of life called Ayurveda that they practice in India,
Mm.
which is like healthcare, medicine, how you eat, meditation, certain treatments they give
Mm.
you. So I want to go do some Ayurveda in India.
Oh, nice.
That's
Yeah.
Yeah,
amazing.
that's awesome. Well, maybe you'll come back and tell us about
Yeah,
it.
tell us
I
how.
will. Maybe you'll come with me, Bruno. I don't
Maybe,
know.
hey,
Full
I know it's
time.
October, you say? Okay, I got you.
Yeah.
I put on the schedule. I do know who we need
Yeah.
to reach out to, though. Her sister, who's writing this huge
Grant.
grant. Sounds like a great guest
I know, right?
I can
for the
recommend her
podcast.
as well.
Right.
She's lovely.
Yeah.
She's
Oh,
great.
that's awesome.
Oh
Oh
man,
my gosh, yeah.
Yeah.
this
The,
sucks.
the
Yeah,
time went by way
It's
too
not.
fast.
It's
it
that time,
does.
guys.
It does. Yeah.
Yeah.
Too fast.
So
Fun.
interesting.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you
Too
so much,
fast.
Cynthia.
Well,
Of course.
Yeah.
It was a lot
Kristen,
of fun.
Uh,
Thanks for
thank you
having me.
so much.
Yeah.
I
yes.
have learned a lot, by the way. I have learned so
Absolutely.
much about you as a person in just medical field, right?
Yeah.
And I'm
Yeah.
hoping that everyone grabbed some kind of nugget from today, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Very impressive resume, you guys.
Well,
That's
Oh,
for
yeah.
sure. Yeah.
it was nice. It was real.
Yes.
Thank you.
All
Thank
right.
you.
Alrighty,
Until next
I guess
time.
until
Bye,
next
everyone. Till next
time.
time.
Bye.
My understanding is an African coming in, it was like, hey, I'm here to get an education. I don't, for me, it was, I don't
Yeah.
care what attitude is. I'm here to get my education. And after I get my education, I'm going back home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Mhm.
it's just a different mindset.
Yes.
It doesn't, I wasn't,
Mm.
looking for, I was treated differently, even in class, or you could see the racism, or even when you went to shops and all that kind of stuff. There was differential treatment, but it was kind of, yeah, you know what? I don't know, maybe, it just didn't bother me. I did not allow it to bother me. That's your problem. I'm here to get an education, and after that, I'm going home. I have a home, Zimbabwe, so that was something. So
Did you like, so you